Hello students, let us learn General Science for class 8 from the book Science Squad. Today we are going to learn the chapter Force and Pressure. In this chapter we shall discuss about force, types of force, effects of force, pressure, pressure exerted by liquids and gases, and about atmospheric pressure. Let us begin the chapter. Force. Force is a push or a pull. Living and non-living things can apply force. To apply a force over an object, interaction between object and the source of force is necessary. In the picture, the ball and the boy have interactions. Whenever force acts, two objects are involved. One which applied force, the other which received the force. The ball hit by a bat, that is applied force. The boy trying to stop the ball, that is the receiving force. Example, to kick ball we need to push it. To pick up the book we need to pull it. To hit the ball we need to push it. And to lift the box we need to push it. Direction and magnitude of force. The measurement of strength and the amount of force is called the magnitude of force. When two or more forces are applied in the same direction, then the total net force is the addition of the magnitude of both the force. For example, let us say two persons pushing the box in the same direction, both with the magnitude of force 2n. Then the resultant force will be 4n in the direction of the force applied. When the two forces of 2n are applied over an object in the opposite direction, then the net force will be the difference between the magnitude of the two forces, and hence the box will not move. But if one person is applying 6n in one direction and the other is applying 8n of force in opposite direction, then we can say the difference, that is the resultant force, will be 2n and in the direction of the higher force. Let us now discuss the effect of forces. Force can change the state of motion. A force can move a stationary object. A force can speed up, decrease the speed, or change the direction of a moving object. Force can stop a moving object. Finally, we can also say that force can change the state of motion. In order to move a tire faster, it has to be pushed repeatedly. This is an example for change in the state of motion by force. While taking a penalty kick in football, the player applies a force on the ball. Before being hit, the ball was at rest, and so its speed was 0. The applied force makes the ball move towards the goal. The second effect of the force is that force can change the shape of an object. When you apply force on an inflated balloon by pressing it using your hand from both sides, then the pressure or the force of the pressure changes the shape of the balloon. You can change the shape of rubber band and spring by stretching it in the opposite direction. You can change the shape of dough into bread by applying force with a rolling pin. Let us now discuss the different types of force. Contact force. Force which is formed due to the interaction between the object is known as contact force. We can see the contact force in pushing a car. You are pushing, that is an interaction between the objects. Hitting the ball, kicking a ball, etc. It includes muscular force, non-contacting force, force due to the force which is caused due to the without the interaction between the two objects, we'll call it as a non-contact force. A magnet can pull an iron nail from a distance, that is without contacting with each other, without having any interaction with each other. It includes magnetic force, electrostatic force, and gravitational force. Let us now discuss about the contact force. Muscular force. Force which is caused due to the action of muscles is called muscular force. It is applied only after the interaction with the object. When we push the object like school bag or lift the bucket of the water, we use the muscular force. Animals use muscular force to carry out their task. Frictional force. The forces of friction arises between the surfaces of two objects. We call this as a frictional force. The frictional force always acts on all moving objects and it always applies in the direction of the motion. Force of friction comes into the action only after interaction between two objects. Due to force of friction between the surface of the ball and the ground that brings the moving ball to rest. When we stop pedaling a bicycle, it gradually slows down and finally comes to stop due to force of friction. Let us now discuss about non-contact force. Magnetic force. A magnet can exert a force on another magnet without being in contact with it. Opposite poles of two magnets attract each other and the same poles repel each other. Electrostatic force. When a charged body exerts a force on another charged body or uncharged body, it is called electrostatic force. A charged body always attracts an uncharged body. Like charges repel while the oppositely charged attract each other. Gravitational force. Gravitational force is exerted by the Earth, Sun, Moon and other planets to others. Earth and other planets attract all objects towards them. When we release an object from a height, it falls over the ground because of the gravitational force. Let us now discuss about the pressure. The force acting on per unit area of a surface is called pressure. Hence, we say pressure is equal to force by area. So, this shows that the force is indirectly proportional to the area and directly proportional to the force. When the force increases, pressure also increases. When the pressure decreases, and the force also decreases. On the other hand, when the pressure is increased, the area is decreased. And when the pressure is decreased, the area is increased. When we cut an apple, we need to use the sharp edge of a knife instead of blunt knife. This is because the sharp edge of a knife has small surface area and we need to exert less force with high pressure to cut the apple. Let us now discuss how pressure exerted by liquid and the gas. Liquid and the gas can exert pressure on the inner walls of the container in which they are kept. When air is filled, a rubber balloon gets inflated from all sides. This happens due to the air or a gas exert pressure over the inner walls of the balloon. Water starts leaking if there is a pore in the bottle. This happens due to the water exerting pressure over the bottles or wall of the bottle. So we can say that liquid and gas exerts pressure on the inner walls of the container, which you can see when a rubber balloon gets inflated from all the sides. When water begins to leak due to the presence of the pore, then we can say water exerts pressure over the walls of the bottle. Atmospheric pressure. Our atmosphere is made of different types of gases. Since gases exert pressure, the pressure exerted by the air is called atmospheric pressure. The weight of the air in a column of the height of the atmosphere and the area is large as 1000 kilograms. Hence, but we are not crushed. This is because the pressure inside our body equals the atmospheric pressure and cancels the pressure from outside. A pressed rubber sucker on a plane surface does not come off because of atmospheric pressure. Let us have a chapter recap. Force could be a push or a pull. A force arises due to the interaction between two objects. Force has magnitude as well as direction. A change in the speed of an object or the direction of its motion or both implies a change in its state of motion. Force acting on an object may cause a change in its state of motion or a change in its shape. A force can act on an object with or without being in contact with it. Force per unit area is called pressure. Liquids and gases exert pressure on the walls of their containers. The pressure exerted by the air around us is known as atmospheric pressure. This ends the chapter.